Yeah, so maintenance on transformers is always cost effective and time saving. The moment, can you imagine a distribution line without a transformer? It cannot be possible because transformers, because a home cannot use 11 kV. You can't use 11 kV in your home. Even in some factory, in some small scale enterprises like welding, they don't use 11 kV. So transformers are very much important, and when they're actually even expensive. We can't afford to lose a transformer like that. So we have to do all the maintenance and protection on the transformer. Basically, what do we do on transformers? We have three things: inspection, maintenance, and reporting. That's what is done in Umeme. Others that have been in UETCL or other generation companies, distribution companies, you know what they do. But for us here, we do inspection, maintenance, and reporting. Next slide, in inspection, we check for any anomaly. Check for any anomaly on the transformer. That is the transformer structure itself and its components. You know, transformers have oil. Some of the parts of the transformers, we have what we call a transformer tank. A transformer tank is for containing all the oil. The purpose of the oil is for insulating the windings from each other. You know, we have primary windings and secondary windings, which are not supposed to be in contact at all. The moment they get in contact, that is an internal shorting, and it is a very big problem. Transformer oil is for insulating those windings from each other. Actually, the windings they are also insulated by cellulose, paper like cellulose, something like that. Paper that is made of cellulose. After how long is the transformer? Well, I will talk about that one at the end. Yes. So this oil is always inspected. You check for oil level and for any leakages. The moment that tank has any leakage, it means that moisture can enter. The moment moisture enters, or water, the moment it enters the oil, it can reduce on its insulating properties. And when the insulating properties are reduced, then there's a likelihood that the cellulose, plastic, or paper-like insulators on the windings can become oxidized by the water that has entered, and that will automatically lead to shorting of the windings. So we check for leakage of the oil and for any holes on the transformer tank, that is a structure. We check for the BDV. BDV is the breakdown voltage, color and smell of the oil. We check for sludge, dust, dirt, and moisture. I've talked about it. If we find that the moisture is contaminated, we can filter it or we can totally replace it. We also check. You also make sure that before replacing the oil that you are replacing, the new and old oil should be of the same make. Yes, if you bring in a different type of oil, then it might lead to sludge formation. I said you also check for the insertion resistance of the oil. It has to be as high as possible to maintain the insulation between the windings. We also check we are still on the transformer structure. We check for the bushings. Hey, did I tell you that we have bushings on the transformer? Yes, we have them. The bushings that's where the ducts or connection points from the three-phase lines, from the high voltage lines. That's why they pass and they go inside the transformer to be transformed or to be stepped down. So those bushings protect the transformer body from the live conductors or from the live ducts. So you check, you clean them. Cleaning is so much important because I said the moment there is any dirt, that dirt, if it keeps on accumulating, it can act as a conductive path for voltages, for currents. If you find them broken, you replace them. Dust and dirt deposition, yeah, that's what I'm talking about on the bushings. Well, how do you check for moisture? The silica gel, the silica gel is used. Next slide, Dr. Ruth, so that I can answer this young man, Mr. Tamaguzi. We still have more maintenance practices on the transformer. So we have what we call the breather examination. The silica gel is responsible for maintaining the internal environment of the transformer as dry as possible. That silica gel is always blue in color, and when it has accumulated a lot of moisture, it becomes pink. So when you go to check on the silica gel and you find it pinkish, I don't know if that pinkish word is there, but if you find it has changed color, you overhaul or you dehydrate. So Joseph, that's what we check on the breather examination. During breather examination, we check for any loose connections on the connections of the terminals on HV and LV. Any loose connection, it can act as a source of corona discharge, like I told you before. So what do you do? When you find that the connections are loose, there's what we call lags. You introduce in lags because a lag can be able to keep the conductor on the position. So lagging, I know some of you know lagging. So we always do lag replacement to avoid the loose connections. Tree clearance, like I told you, location of a transformer is so much important. If it is located under a tree, you have to cut the tree. But location is in two ways. You have to make sure that the transformer is located in no lightning zone. How do you know that this zone is no lightning? You ask the public, the general public, because for them they always know. But how do you know that the transformer has been affected by lightning? Most of the times, the surge arresters will always be active. There's something about surge arresters is that when the voltage is normal, the surge arresters are always in normally open position. Surge arresters are 3, and all of them are shorted at one point, and that point of shorting is earth to the ground. So they are 3 and they are shorted at one point. When voltages are normal, they are always in open circuit. When there are any transient, they conduct all the current surges to the ground. So, as a maintenance engineer on transformers, when you come and you find that these surge arresters have been breaking and making, then it means that that area is not a no lightning zone. And then you can ask the public and you say, is this place always affected by lightning? The moment they say yes, you have to transfer the transformer from that place to another one. And then you also have the location. The transformer should be located between or at the center of the load. Loads, transformers are the ones that supply power to different people. You may find to the north of the transformer there is 0 current going. To the south there is 50 current. To the east we have only 10 currents, 10 amperes. When I talk of currents, I am talking about amperes. East 10, and then west we find only 3. That is not a balanced load. You have to make sure that that transformer is extended more to the 50 ampere zone. Not you putting 100 amperes on red and 0 amperes on blue. You have to make sure that you balance the loads properly. So that is what we call, then checking for overloads. Transformers have their rating. There's a certain amount of load they are supposed to be carrying. So these people who are called CAMUFOs, who always come and steal power, they are adding extra loads on the transformer. For example, we are in a period of Nsenene, though they have not yet come. I don't know what the government has done to them, but during this period, that's when most transformers break down. So when they collect those grasshoppers, they always use chokes that are very, very power consuming, so the transformer can become overloaded and it breaks down. So we always check for overloads. We make sure that the transformer contains the load it is rated to contain. We also check for effective operation of the fuses. We have HT and LT fuses. The LT fuses are for protection. What is the rate transformer breakdown, Mimi? That's a very technical question. Let me see. Who is this asking this question? Achuma Innocent and Okodi Emmanuel. What's the rate transformer breakdown Mimi receives per year? I have to read about it because I don't know properly. Thank you so much for that. Effective operation of fuses. Yeah, I was talking about the protection. Protection on transformer is on the HV side and LV side. HV side, we talk about surge arresters and the HT fuses, because we always transmit high voltages and low currents. So those fuses, what we call the fuse dropouts that have a fuse inside, they are always rated at a very low current. And we have to make sure that those fuses work properly. Then on the LT side, we have the JPUs, we have the breakers. The JPUs are the low voltage fuses. So we have the breakers also on the LT side. All those ones are for protection of the transformer from any power surges. We also check for the earth resistance. The earth resistance should be 5 ohms, below 5 ohms. So you have to make sure that you check for it, to make sure that in case of any surge currents, they can be directed to the earth and they won't find a lot of resistance there. So those are the protection. That's how we do maintenance on the transformers. And before replacing any transformer or overhauling it, you have to make sure that the cause of the failure is identified or eliminated, because it may affect the new transformer. Then the last slide. I hope that is the last slide, Dr. Ruth. And then I can answer. I can take some questions. What causes transformers to fail? Insufficient oil level. Number 1. I told you the importance of oil in the transformer for insulation and again for cooling. It has 2. For cooling and insulation. So when the level goes below the required level, you have to fill it. So the moment the oil level is insufficient, then the transformers are likely to have failures. Water ingress into the oil. Water ingress, I told you what water does. First of all, it can cause oxidation of the cellulose, paper-like structure that is insulating the windings, the primary and secondary winding. Prolonged overloading. The transformer can be overloaded for a very long time. And in that one, the consequences will be on the transformer that will fail. Single phase is when one of the voltages on one phase gets lost. For example, red, it gets lost and now voltage is on blue and yellow. That current that is supposed to be on red will now look for a way and it will come and join the the blue and yellow, and then it can cause a high current. The current becomes maximum because each phase is supposed to be carrying a certain amount of current, and it can also break down. Unbalanced loading, I talked about it, putting too much load on one phase and you leave the other one idle. Faulty terminations, power theft, I've talked about CAMUFUs who will come and start tapping illegally on the line. And this one, it can cause to overloading of the transformer. A prolonged short circuit, there can be some short circuit inside there that has not been identified, and this one can, with time, cause problems. Poor workmanship. Poor workmanship means that the technician knows what to do, but he has not done it the way he's supposed to do it. Poor workmanship does not mean that someone doesn't know what to do, but they know what to do, but they are doing it wrongly. Insufficient cooling and then failure to do checks, all those things can lead to a breakdown on the transformer.